everybody, I am back with another project. This time it's mine. It's a 71 LeSabre 4-door sedan, big block. Yeah, custom LeSabre big block 455 car. Let's check it out. 41,000 mile car. It has been painted, but no body damage, no rust, like zero rust. There's a good indication of where it's been. Is Wyoming. Yay, let's see, 1978. Pretty cool. I believe the color is called Cascade Blue. For some reason I'm blanking on it. White vinyl top and a blue interior, and it is in fantastic shape. A little bit of staining there. You can't even see it in person. I can actually see it on the video, but not in person. Perfect headliner. Perfect dash pad, instrument panel, just a little crack here. The carpet's in great shape. There's just some aftermarket stuff here. What do you call those? Floor mats. Yeah, that. Very cool. Custom color coordinated seat belts. Awesome. Door panels are in great shape. A little bit of fraying down here on the carpet, but to be expected. They did paint the jambs. They painted over the VIN sticker here, which is fine. Got a little bit of overspray I need to clean up. Typical little silicone sealing up here. On these windows, they have a real issue with it's not rust. Yes, they do rust, but this one is not rusted. It's basically the delamination on the seal itself, and it leaks into the trunk. The trunk itself is not rusty. The only real body damage I can see, there's a little dent here, and it looks like maybe they waxed something, maybe a rock, or maybe even a tire blew or something. But look at that, custom 455, pretty cool. Considering the fact that this is a Wyoming car, I believe it was Wyoming, or at least Western owned for most of its life. The previous owner I just bought it from had it for 9 years, and she lived in Indianapolis. But the chrome on this bumper and the back bumper is in basically perfect condition. Pretty much all the chrome in the car. There's no pitting on anything. It's kind of rainy out here, so it looks like crap, but most of these mirrors always have pitting on them. It is absolutely clear as a bell. There's nothing on it except rainwater. These are usually always pitted up. Absolutely perfect. Rear bumper is straight. Look at this. How often do you see a straight bumper on a 71 to 72? Totally cool. It's got regular wheel covers on it. I'm not super excited about that, but we're gonna leave it at that for right now until I can find a set of road wheels for it. If that, I really don't care. I kind of like these. They're cool. Inside the engine compartment here, I have already been fiddling with it. I've got the air cleaner off, and it looks pretty good. It does have an incorrect carburetor on it. It's got a small block carburetor on it. I have a big block carb somewhere that I will probably put on it. It appears to have a 72 fan shroud on it. I'm not sure, since this is a really late 71 build. It is a second week in July of 71 build, which puts it at extreme late build territory for 71, but they did have the strike in 71, so there weren't many early 71 builds. R134A, excuse me, converted. I believe it works. I'm not sure. The compressor kicks on. It's got the original sticker where it's supposed to be. Still has the tag on the bale and the tag on the booster. Also, what did I see earlier? There's a tag on the throttle cable. This all indicates actual low mileage. Obviously, we have a new water pump on it. Doesn't surprise me for that amount of years. Heater hoses have been changed. This has been replaced. Yeah, usually these little rubber things are gone on these heater control valves, and that's a good indication that that is a low mile car again. Sometimes you see this stuff on low mile cars with old tags and stuff that might have existed on them at one time. You can also see the yellow tag on the steering box. I can't read it, doesn't matter. And being a late 71 car, it actually had an idle control solenoid, which is this extra sticker here, and it takes the place of a dash pot. I did notice they have some sort of epoxy in that inlet on the carburetor, so I'm sure that's foobar. Their vacuum line routing is kind of foobar as well. So a few things that need to be attended to. Yeah, we have no wipers because they're not hooked up. Not sure why. Don't really care. Not right now. I'll get into it later. Still has the original hood insulation, which is cool. Looking under this car is kind of shocking. Look at that gas tank. Super cool. And up under here, this sheet metal is looking really good. I mean, it'll probably clean up really nice, take some diesel fuel to it. Surface rust on a lot of the stuff, but I think it'll clean up okay. Not a posi rear, but being a big block, I believe that's the 9 3/8 rear end. It's got a newer muffler on it, but it sounds like absolute hell. And it's got a resonator on it, single exhaust. Ugh. It's quiet, but it farts and makes a lot of noise. Let's see. Oh yeah, you can't tell the VIN with engine situation. I'm gonna start it up. Sounds like poop. Look at that floor pan. How cool is that? Absolutely rust-free. The tires are not old. They're from 2019, which is kind of cool. Hey, power seat. Power seat, air conditioning. Still has the original AM radio. Does not work, but look at that. Pretty cool. Oh yeah, that's broke. Here, quality O'Reilly cup holder. The mirror's in good shape. It's not all goobered up. Pontiac. I'll take that off. Anyway, as you can see, I have quite a few things to do to this thing before I really want to make it roadworthy. Mainly, I want to go through, get the carburetor situation taken care of, and do a full tune-up, plugs, wires, cap, rotor, points, anything else that gets in my way, I'm going to fix, and I'm going to take you along. So let's get started. I got to order parts, so it may take me a minute. The first thing I'm going to do in this car before I really get it on the road, well, I got it on the road yesterday and found out a couple of different things, but the biggest thing is I've got a noise coming from the left wheel, and it's started off as a tick and it's more of a chirp now. So first thing I'm going to do is check the wheel bearings on it, and hopefully I find something, because otherwise I don't know what I'm going to find. I don't see anything that indicates you know, a rattle or anything like that. Sometimes there's rocks stuck in here and they just kind of tick, tick, tick as the wheel turns. But I'm going to raise this up and just kind of rattle it around to see if I can feel anything or hear anything when I spin it. I'm not using the lift today because both of them are full. Okay. I did notice yesterday that if I was turning left and the weight came off of this wheel, that it would stop. Oh yeah, definitely some play in there. I got to get this off. I just want to see it. I've got to take the wheel and the rotor and all this other stuff off to get to these bearings though. I'm gonna grab something to pop that off. Oh. Well, there's that. I don't see anything weird, but I've got to get this thing. Actually, before I take this whole wheel off, I'm just going to pull this outer bearing off and see if I can see anything that's ugly. It looks a little dry in there, so maybe we'll see something, maybe we won't. I went ahead and pulled off the wheel and stuck a jack stand under there to be safe. The good thing is you only have to pull the caliper off to get the rotor off, and not the whole shebang, because this is part of the spindle here. So pads look like they're in good shape. Now, if you're curious about this groove, that's a factory rotor. 71s for sure had those, but I don't know about any other years. So don't freak out. Judging by the look of the pads, I don't think this is original pads, so this has probably been off before, given that it's got 41,000 miles on it, and I imagine someone's inspected this thing before. Trying to compress that piston a little bit. Trying is the operative word. I guess this is kind of hard to get off with that groove in there. There we go. Okay. Whew. Moving on to removing the rotor. Boy, that's got an inspection paint mark on it. This thing might not have ever been apart. But it's definitely loose. I don't know if you can hear that, but I sure can. It's kind of funny having $20,000 worth of lifts in your shop and you're sitting here on the driveway on your hands and knees. That's fine. That bearing looks really good. Race looks fine. Now let's see what the inner looks like. Packed full of grease. I might just try to repack this thing and take it for a spin. I don't want to pull this seal out and ruin everything because I don't have parts with me right now. This is more of just an exploratory gig at this point. So I'm going to go get some new grease, shove some new grease inside this guy, and repack the outer bearing and then put it back together and take it for a test spin. Now for this inner, I'm going to clean this seal off because it's got just a little bit of, little bit, like quite a bit. I probably should replace this, but I'm not going to. It's not that bad, and the brakes aren't contaminated yet. All right. Just gonna kind of pull some grease in on that inner bearing. Hopefully that's enough to shut it up, and I really hope that it's not bad, because I don't want to pull that seal out to inspect it. Ain't nobody got time for that. At least not in my car. If it was for somebody else, I'd be pulling this thing 100% apart, but sorry, not sorry. I have limited time to work on my own crap, and I'm going to get it by and make it work. These probably could be turned. There's a little bit of a pulse when I brake, but that's for another day. I actually am trying to make an event this weekend on Saturday with this car, so we'll see how that goes. This bearing is, yeah, it's pretty dry. I hate doing these by hand. This is a little bit of an old school way, but a lot of people still do it this way. And packing bearings, you just use the palm of your hand and just push the grease in. And you'll see it start to pop through on the top side. Yeah, there it goes. You can do it the other way as well. The more the merrier. There is a point where you have too much grease in this cavity and it's going to start pushing out that seal, and then you start contaminating your brake pads with it. Or shoes, depending on if you have drums or discs. So just do what's needed. This car was built in Southgate, California. I was trying to remember that name yesterday and I couldn't for some reason. Stuff's so ingrained in my head, I just lost it for a minute. Shit. Okay, gotta get my hands cleaned off good for this. So I'm gonna find a rag. Ugh. Okay. Had to clean off my fingers. Feels good there. Wipe off the excess. Where's my cap? Almost forgot. There's the hole. Here somewhere. All right, now I can put the damn thing on. Okay. I like to use this ridge. Because if you just hammer this thing, it'll get all caved in and look like crap. Okay. Not tire time. Caliper time. Click. All right, cold start. Set the choke. God, that exhaust sounds like crap. I really want to get it fixed by the time this weekend comes, but I don't think he's going to have it out there in time. I really have to have the car out to him tomorrow, which is why I'm working on this today. I'm going to let this warm up for a minute. Hey, the mail's here. Cool. Hey, brakes. We have brakes. Forgot that I compressed that. I think I hear power steering pump. Sounds good. Good news is I don't hear any ticking yet. Yeah, power steering. Something's fishy. No ticks. It is not ticking. Honestly, I probably could have just greased that outer bearing and tightened it up. Well, all the tune-up kits decided to show up at a reasonable hour today, so I'm going to go ahead and start doing this. I'm going to pull just a couple of plugs on the side over here because they had recently replaced the things. They almost look like they replaced the wires too. They look pretty good. I might bypass those for right now and just do cap and rotor. The vacuum advance works, so I might just do cap and rotor, and then I got to get this carburetor situation taken care of. I've got a core carburetor down in the shop that is the correct number. I've got a rebuild kit for it. I think I'm just going to throw it in there and see what happens, because I've got this weird little misfire and it doesn't like to idle below 800-900 RPM. So got a few issues going on there, and I'm hoping this all takes care of all that stuff. I might even do the points and condenser just because we can, but that might be the last thing that I do. So let's see what we got here. As long as I don't break any of these plug wires, we'll be in good shape. That one's nice and white. Yeah, I'm gonna bypass doing these plugs and wires. I'm gonna focus on a cap and rotor and carburetor for now. This vacuum advance can looks like crap, but it's doing the job, so I think I'm gonna let it go until, if I ever do the engine bay restoration on this thing. The button that the rotor rides on is completely worn down on this thing. I'm not exactly sure what that means. If there's a different type of problem we're having or what. But I'm just going to go ahead and replace these and move on. They don't look bad. Everything's nice and free in the distributor. I don't know. Okay, swap time. Kind of looks like those wires are build your own style, the way one of these connections looks. take a closer look at this. I've seen there's one that's popped off here. I really don't like the way it looks inside. I guess I'm going to check and see what those wires look like that I bought, and see if it's worth it to try to just swap these out. If the bought wires don't look like crap, maybe these probably aren't cut to fit. They're all goobery. Start taking stuff apart here. Now, if you know where number 1 is on the rotor, okay, he zip tied this thing together. Let's see. Number 1. Number 1 is right where it's supposed to be. It is the post clockwise of the window. I'm just going to pull these off. Replace them with new ones. Yoink. Alright, let's start with number 1. Remember, 1 is the post just left of the window, and that's where we start. You'll know the firing order because it's always on the, you know that thing. Intake. Okay, that is wires, cap, and rotor. Just out of morbid curiosity, let's see if it will start and run a little better. I have to let this thing warm up. Still cold, but it feels good. Hopefully it stays that way. While this thing's warming up, I'm gonna go check the timer. I'm gonna go grab my timing light and get the timing checked. Check dwell as well. Just to make sure we're not missing anything. It always seems like there's something going on with timing or dwell when I check this stuff on these cars that come in. They're all out of whack somehow. This thing's still kind of spitting and sputtering at low idle. I don't like it. Dwell's sitting at 33, which is pretty darn close, but I don't want to do any changes on dwell until I check timing. Timing's at 8. So I'm wondering, boy, got a valve cover leak. It acts like there's a vacuum leak. So that's why I'm hesitant to assume it's anything, really, because it could be anything. I'm gonna go grab a pair of needle nose pliers and crimp off a few vacuum lines and see if there's something that changes. Otherwise, I'm gonna change dwell and see what happens. That weird little stumble is typically, I call it a lean miss. What am I down here for? Needle nose. And so what I will look for is vacuum leaks or poorly calibrated carburetor, which is a good possibility because that quadrajet is built for a small block. And small blocks are smaller than big blocks. So we could be lean at idle for sure. I just turned the dwell a little bit one way and I don't know which way I'm supposed to go. So I'm going to double check it, or check it again. And really change it. Which is weird. Should change it quite a bit actually. Turn a quarter turn. Idle woke up. 30.2. It's going to stay that way. All right. So since Dwell changes timing, I'm going to look at the timing again. $12 degrees. Went up quite a bit. This is probably too tight for me to turn. It's right back to where we were. Okay. Still at a weird little stumble. All right, I'm going to start crimping off vacuum lines. Hopefully you can still hear me in the wind here. The biggest one I've got here is, well, I've got several. Brake booster. That's not really changing anything. We've got our vacuum manifold back here. No. PCV for sure. Ported vacuum. Manifold vacuum is pinched off. There's a charcoal can line. No. Got two pull-offs here on the carburetor. Nope. I don't know if I can reach this one. No. So, I don't know if you can hear that, but if I choke it halfway, the idle's happy again. So what we're looking at is a lean miss. And I suspect the carburetor is at fault. So I got to go down to the shop and throw a kit into this core carburetor that I've got and swap them out and see what happens. Well, here is the carburetor. It's actually pretty darn clean for being what appears to be an original carb. So I'm just going to blow it apart, do a lean, mean rotor-rooter machine and put a kit in it, and I will throw the new pull-offs off of the other carburetor onto this thing because it needs it, obviously. And I'll just get her done. Well, everything's checking out except for that. That plug is missing, and it goes straight through to a, hell, I don't even know what that is. Probably an air bleed. So I need to find out a way to plug that. I might just drill it and tap it, put a little screw in there with some Marine Tex epoxy in there. Golly, man, that's frustrating. Always something, isn't it? Everything else looks good though. It's nice and clean. You know, it's got some white scuzz in it, but that, check this out. Can't get the fuel filter out because it's so rusted in there. That's fine. There's my fix. And you're going to wonder why I didn't do these other guys. Well, according to Cliff Ruggles, you don't need to worry about them because they don't typically leak in these years. And it looks like somebody's already been in here and kind of epoxied them up a little bit. But this Marine Tex takes 2 to 3 hours to cure and then 18 to 24 hours to fully cure. So I think I'm stuck until that stuff can cure. Then I can do a full rotor-reader on the carburetor and get it all put back together. I guess I'll do this tomorrow. I'm kind of stuck for the day, but I'm going to go ahead and pull the carburetor off, See if there's any other surprises, that way I'm prepared for tomorrow. Okay, she's off. I don't know if anyone's ever seen this, but these little tangs have a tendency to break off, and this looks like it's a kind of a fix for that. Never seen that before. I might keep that carb just for that. That I thought was some sort of epoxy, but it's just a seal, which is a good thing. This is a little bent right here. No big deal. I don't see anything else that's weird on this thing, but internally, I just do not trust remanufactured carburetors, especially ones with these little tags on them. I'll spill fuel all over the place here. Yeah, and it looks good, but looks are deceiving. So we're gonna put this one to bed. I'm gonna take this and this and put them on the new carburetor, and hopefully we will have a good runner coming out of this thing after everything is all said and done. That starter sounds like crap. That took way too long. It's probably blowing off the crap from me flooding it on the other carburetor. Check for leaks here, but nothing. Try to let this thing warm up a little bit. It appears to be running better. I haven't done anything with the idle screws yet. Still trying to get it to warm up a little bit. Slightly kind of sputtering, but I think that might be due to the fact that we have a muffler that's all goobered up inside. Of course, I leave it out and it rains overnight. Stupid rain. Okay, I'm gonna do a quick tune on the idle circuit and close this thing up and take it to the exhaust guy. Before I commit to taking the car to the exhaust guy, I wanted to drive it around the block real quick to make sure nothing weird is going on. Feels good so far. Just gonna take it around the other cul-de-sac and put a mile on it. No more blappity blappity blapping and farting. Sounds really good. Now that that's all taken care of, I'm going to show you a few photos that I snapped when the car was on the lift over at the exhaust shop. It was pretty cool. I've never seen this before on any car, as a matter of fact. This still has original sticker decal tags on the rear springs and also on the distribution block, which I've never seen at all. I didn't know anything existed like that. I've got several other things to do in this car, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up on this part for this car. Seems like a lot already, and probably don't want to sit through 2 hours of crap, so I'm gonna break it up a little bit. I'm gonna do a paint correction ceramic on that. Also, front bumper needs adjustment. There's a door handle or a window crank that needs to be replaced. Some other stuff. I don't know. It's little stuff, so I may or may not get back to it on YouTube. But anyway, as usual, I appreciate you guys keeping watch on me and subscribing and liking and all that fun stuff, interacting. I will see you next time. Thanks.